Hi. So about 3, 4 weeks ago now, I went to a screening of Sleepy Hollow at my local cinema. It was the first of something called Silver Screams, which is like, I suppose it's the start of a build of a community that likes horror films and various horror related things. And the idea is that the guy that runs it, T.W. Burgess, I hope I've said his name right now, um, is a writer himself. He's like a horror writer, does comic book, graphic novels, stuff like that. And he wants to build his horror community in my area of Ashford, Kent, and he also sort of like wants to do things to do with this horror community. So he wants to sort of do events. So he started doing this thing in the local cinema where he'll show a horror film, he'll introduce it himself and try and get a special guest to sort of talk about it afterwards. And last one I went to was Sleepy Hollow, and it was only a fiver to go in there. And I thought that would be like just the first one, fiver, just to see what happens, try and test the water with a cheap price for a ticket. However, he's done it again. This time he did the film Krampus. Obviously, it's Christmas, so he's done the movie Krampus. And I hadn't seen Krampus since it first came out. And I remember thinking it was an okay film, but I thought, I'm going to go watch it anyway. And I like the setup that the guy did before because he sort of like, he does his little introduction at the start, which is a really good introduction. There's a lot that goes into a lot of detail about the movie. He really does his research, talks a bit about the movie and production of the movie, then goes into the film. When the film finishes, you get a special guest to come out and do a little Q&A afterwards. So as the credits start to roll, they bring out some chairs. The guest sits in the on the seats there, and they start this Q&A. So I figured, I'll do it again. Like it'll be all right. I mean, Krampus isn't my favourite film of all time, but it's a decent enough film. So I thought, Joe, what I haven't seen in a while, I'll go do it again. So again, pay my fiver again ticket, and went to the cinema. I bought the ticket a couple of weeks ago because I thought, I'm going to get it quickly because I noticed that they were selling quite well. So obviously this guy's got a Facebook page. I'll try and remember to put a link to the Facebook page in the video, but I do forget to do things. I'm rubbish with technology and stuff, so I'll forget to do it. I won't work out how to do it. But I'll do my best to try and add the link to the into the video description bit. So the guest this time was a guy called Dan Baines. And what Dan does, he does mainly like magic props. So he makes these. There was a term he used, I can't remember the term, but it was sort of like storytelling magic, almost like horror storytelling magic. So he does a lot of Krampus ones where you sort of have certain cards you lay out, and it all turns out to be some sort of like magic trick, but sort of elongated story of a magic trick. And he makes props for that. He also does little props for people that are famous, like what's his name, Del Toro, who did the Cabinet of Curiosities. He bought some of his props and used it in the Cabinet of Curiosities. He's made props for like various different celebrities and stuff over the past, and stuff for like we refer to as people's man caves, like probably stuff like this really. That you put in a man, something a bit creepy and that. He does a lot of creepy artwork, and his stuff was really good. I mean, I'll get more into him in a minute anyway. So we got there. So this time around, we're going in for the Krampus one. So we got up to cinema, and in the previous one, they had a giant headless horseman statue. There was nothing like that on this one, but on the door they had like a sticker of like Krampus and like enter and that, which I've got photo right here. And then you go into the cinema, you sat down. There was a bit of confusion at first because originally they booked out a smaller screen, but they realised that they were outselling that screen, so they moved the screen from one place to another. So where I originally was sitting is now somewhere I wasn't sitting, so I wouldn't where I choose to sit, but I still was happy to sit there anyway. There was a bit of a funny moment where the guy in front of me, his original seat allocation, because he bought his ticket early like I did, his original seat allocation was a single seat, and it had been moved to one of his armchair seats. And he's like, "Oh my god, what if someone sits next to me? What if it's a couple?" And I've got to like, sort of like, be a third wheel in this couple by sharing a chair with them. And that it turned out it was a couple, but they saw the funny side of it and was happy for him to keep sitting there. I think it made more of a sort of comedy moments of the night. So they sort of sat in their chairs, and it got sorted out. It wasn't a bad issue, but it was sort of one of those, like, oh my god, it's not where I normally like to sit. Because I've got certain seat preferences in the cinema, right, to sit. I've got very long legs. I'm 6 foot. I've got long legs. I like to stretch my legs out during a film because I've got dodgy knees. Also, I like to be nearer sort of the exits. If I need a toilet or something, I don't like to bother people while walking past them. So I always like to be nearer sort of an exit. This time, because the way they switched the screens around, I was no longer near the exit. I was kind of sort of in the seats, but it didn't matter so much because there's a lot of room in the Ashford Cinema anyway. It's not an uncomfortable cinema to sit in. So I was quite happy with that. So I sat down, I see T.W. Burgess comes out, he does his little introduction like he normally does, and it's fascinating. He's looked so much into the Krampus movies. He knew a lot about the Krampus movies and the production side of it and where the story come from and all that. Talks a lot about the backstory of like the traditional sort of European folktale of the Krampus being a sort of like demon version of Father Christmas almost, that hunts down and hurts like naughty children and that. And it was fascinating. Again, it was a fascinating talk. I mean, I would sit there. I'd pay that £5 just to sit and listen to him tell me things about the movie and not watch the movie, because that was fascinating. Either side of the movie was fascinating. The movie's just like a little gem on top, like the icing on the cake. So he does his he does his little introduction, a fascinating introduction again, talking about all the film and how they're building this community. They want to try and get a horror film festival thing going on. They want just horror festival in general. Keep like asking him to try and share this stuff because he really wants to build this horror community. So if you like horror and you live local to Ashford, please try and, as I said, I'll try and leave the links to the pages in there. Also, just to let you know, as I go into cinema, again, all the staff in the cinema are super friendly and nice. Whatever you ask for order, they're happy to help, and they don't they never shrug or roll their eyes. They just literally, as soon as you ask for, they go get the order. They smile at you. They're very pleasant people. It's a really nice little cinema. And I remember before it was the Ashford Cinema, when it was Showcase Cinema. It was owned by, I think Cineworld owned it actually. It didn't have that same vibe. You went in there, it was more like a posh cinema. That's how I just got it. It was a very posh cinema, and it was kind of an air about it. But now there's a very sort of like family friendly vibe to that place now. I don't know if it's just me just separating the two and want it to be like that, but there is definitely a family friendly vibe in that place now, where you go in there and you just feel like everyone likes you. You know what I mean? There's no sort of, oh, I've got to do my job. Everyone seems to enjoy their job there. Whether or not I do it, I don't know. But everyone seems to be enjoying their job. Everyone's always smiling. Everyone's always got a happy look on their face and seem to be chatting with each other, all the staff behind the counter. And that's what you want. You want to go out for somewhere nice and you want a good vibe as you walk into a place. And I get that at the Ashford Cinema. So then we move on to the movie. The movie starts. And I'd forgotten how good that film was. It actually, I mean, in my head, it was, I remember bits of it that were kind of like little scenes. Watching a second time round, I appreciated the story more, and I appreciated the special effects that were used in it, because obviously I knew there was going to be a Q&A special effects sort of guy afterwards, in a way, and a prop maker. So I was trying to look at more of that sort of stuff to resonate with me, and obviously some of the stuff that the host was talking about beforehand, I was trying to see that in there as well. So it kind of like brought the movie a bit more visually to me, which was good. I forgot how horrible, like the sound in that film. I forgot how intense, like the Krampus when he's walking, like the crunch of the snow and the on the floor. Oh my god! And it actually kind of like got me a little bit all creeped out. It's like not a film that makes you just, not a jump scare film as such, but it's a film that gives you an uneasy feeling. It's kind of like The Shining in that way, where you get that uneasy feeling the whole way through the film. And essentially, it's about a family who are kind of like the worst at the time. They were a nice family, and the son's kind of like the main guy in it, and the kid in it, and he just wants his family to be the way it used to be when he was a lot younger. Obviously, when he was a little kid, because obviously the parents kind of pre-divorce at the minute by the looks of it. The rest of the family kind of selfish, and they all sort of doing everything for themselves. You get the extended family that come over, and they are the worst. It's very much Christmas vacation, with the other family comes over, the cousin, the sisters come over, and the cousins, and they're all just like the worst types of people. This is kind of like that, but without them being loving worst types of people. They're kind of like just horrible. And then you sort of go on with the Krampuses, like then come because the kid, he's had enough. He writes his letter, rips up his Father Christmas, sort of throws it, and Krampus comes down to sort of seek out these horrible children, try and just lay waste to this family, basically. And with Krampus, who is the most terrifying Father Christmas looking demon you'll ever see, comes all of the normal Santa stuff, but the horror version of it. So the toys, which are kind of like the film demonic toys. So like there's a bear in it, it's this disgusting bear with razor sharp teeth, that's sort of like werebear monster thing. There is the most horrible Jack in the Box. It's like this giant Jack in the Box clown thing, and its face opens up to have these like predator style mandibles and teeth. Oh, it's horrible, and it eats things. It is hideous. And then you've got like the gingerbread men, the kind of like evil gingerbread men that try and kill you and stab you and stuff, and they are hilarious. Like this film has got a lot of comedy in it. It's pushing the line of comedy horror. I think it's more horror than comedy, but there's a lot of comedy stuff. There's some very good comedy stars in it as well. A lot of the actors in it you've seen in previous comedy movies as well. And Muriel, it's like funny because when the guy was talking about the movie, he mentioned the cast, and he went on about Tony Wynette. I think her name is. She was Like she's a horror icon. She was in Hereditary and Sixth Sense and that sort of stuff. But I know her as Muriel from Muriel's Wedding, which is an old Australian film from a long time ago, and that's Muriel. So whenever I see her, I think Muriel. So it's like, oh, you should have mentioned Muriel. Anyway, so she's quite a comedic actress as well. So again, it was just one of those. This is actually a bloody good like horror film for Christmas. So after the film finishes, obviously they put the tables on, and out comes Dan Baines, who's this, as I said, he's like a prop maker, and he does a lot of like magic, sort of dark illusion props as well. And he sits down, he starts talking about how he got into his career, and it is a fascinating story of how does what he does now. It starts out that he sort of was in art, quite into art and stuff, then ended up joining the military. From the military, he goes into forensics, and then from forensics, he just randomly one day comes up with a hoax. So he gets like an old skeleton and some like paper mache, and he makes like a pretend corpse of a fairy. Gets some of the forensic rubber gloves and some of the police bag evidence stuff, and it makes it look like he's got a photo of himself. I'll try and find it up there actually. Of a photo of himself holding this dead corpse fairy. And of course he said, and of course what happens is that over here no one really cared, and then as soon as the picture made its way to America, kind of everyone was like, oh my god, like America's kind of bought into it a bit more. And obviously that happened. And then he'd done another prank or a hoax a little bit later on, where he did like a fairy skeleton inside a kestrel's nest, and that ended up going like mad in Japan. He ended up on Japanese talk shows about it and stuff like that. So fascinating stories where you sort of these stories where you listen to these stories and you want to hear more, because it's like, where's this gonna go? Like, it was those type of stories. And he's quite a good storyteller as well for a prop guy. He's a very good storyteller, and he's telling his own story very well. And him working with the host as well was kind of good, the way they were going back and forth with stuff as well. And then he sort of started making more artistic things and creepy things, and then he made something, an illusion thing, box thing, and then someone wanted to buy it, and someone else wanted to buy it, and he thought, oh, this is making me quite a bit of money, so I'm going to keep going. And now he's making things for big money by the sounds of it, and he's made a career out of this, that he doesn't have to do any of these forensic work or anything like that anymore. He can just concentrate on the stuff he kind of enjoys to do, which is making these props and making these things. And I thought that was quite fascinating. I really did enjoy him talking about stuff. I mean, he talks about like the prop he was making now, which I kind of want to see, because in the way it was described, sounds creepy as hell, and I kind of want one. And it's like to do with like people that are doing seances on tables. It's a doll that will sit there, and it will sort of randomly turn a little bit and look at someone in the audience and stuff like that as part of the show that goes on. So I was like, that sounds creepy. The idea of a doll, I could imagine, because I've got like a Chucky doll, like obviously not that one, but I've got like a proper life-size replica Chucky doll in the front room, and I've always said I'd love it if that would just randomly turn its head every so often, like when people like guests are here, or if I could get like I kind of want to get a little Chucky voice box thing, so that I could just be sitting there, and as guests come round, I'll just like click it and go, hi, I'm Chucky, want to play? Sound like that, you know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. So like when he said like he had this doll that would move itself, and it's like, and like look at people in the audience, turn to face people, I thought that was creepy as hell, so I'd love that. So again, he does his long old like chat thing. It goes on for quite a while, which is, it's not like a little, I will do a few questions, get out, everyone leave. You sit there for a while, and he kept asking, like they kept asking the manager, we got a bit more time? He's like, yeah, you got more time, it's fine, keep going. And people ask questions. I kind of had a question in mind, but you can probably hear from my voice, I have got the worst sort of mini chest infection thing going on, and I'm constantly on the verge of wanting to cough. Even now, sort of, I've got that tickly, itchy feeling in the back of my throat, and it's hard to talk anyway. And while I was sitting in the cinema, it was really coming on. And I get embarrassed by things like that, so I don't want to start coughing over the cinema. So I'm doing everything I can not to cough. So I've got my drink with me. I'm trying everything I can not to cough. So when it comes to question times, I did have a couple of questions in my head that I wanted to ask. They kind of got answered as the thing went on, but I really wanted to ask a question this time. But because I had this vision of like, give me the microphone, I was just coughing into a microphone for like 10 minutes before I even say anything. I didn't want to go down that road. So after Dan Baines does his fascinating talk and that, we then find out what the next one's going to be, these events. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do the next one. I've done two. It's time away from my family. I don't want them to get peed off because I'm buggering off once a month to do these things, sort of thing. And then he drops the bombshell, and he's like, the next one we're doing is An American Werewolf in London, which happens to be one of my all-time favourite movies. I mean, all-time favourite movies. So I don't know if you spotted that, but there is my Kessler Wolf, the Necker one. I also have a Slaughtered Lamb pub sign in the front room as well that hangs up on the wall. And I was just like, I've never seen it on the big screen. I've seen it on DVD, video, TV, but I've never seen it in the cinema on the big screen. So already I'm going to go with that regardless. He then says it's going to be another one with an introduction. I figured, well, I wrote an essay on American Werewolf in London when I was in the sixth form, when I was studying film in the sixth form for my art stuff. And I wrote an essay, and it says not much I don't know about the making of that movie anyway, as in like bits to do with it and all that, like a lot of the things that, because I've researched it back then. Obviously, I'm fascinated. I've got the DVD and all the special features and all that stuff I've gone through God knows how many times. So I was like, wow, like it's going to be good. Like maybe he's found stuff out I don't know about, and obviously time moves on, you learn new things. And then he says that they're going to get the guy that did the sound work on the movie for the Q&A, and the guy that invented the werewolf howl in that film. And to me, that werewolf howl is the definitive howl of a werewolf, because there's something ear-piercing and horrid and scary and creepy about that howl that just makes your blood run cold as soon as you hear it. And I was just like, holy sugar, like that is oh my gosh. So I was like, I'm in for that. I walked out of the theatre straight up to the desk and bought my ticket for it. And it's on the 11th of January, Saturday the 11th of January, because all these things are on a Friday. So on a Saturday the 11th of January, I've got my seat booked. I hope they don't change the seats again. If they do, I don't care. But I'm going to go now watch for the first time ever one of my, it's definitely top 10. It may be top 5 favourite films of all time. And oh my God, because this film was made the year I was born. My first not finding out about this movie was during the making of Michael Jackson's Thriller video. I don't know if you remember that, because Michael Jackson's Thriller is one of the greatest one of the greatest music videos of all time. And in the 80s, they brought out a videotape of like the film and then the making of it afterwards, how they made that music video. And of course, John Landers directed that music video because Michael Jackson watched American Werewolf in London and went, that's what I want for my music video, and then got John Landers involved. So, and Rick Baker as well, who did all of the makeup effects in that movie, all special effects and all that for that movie, then did the Michael Jackson music video as well. So it kind of flowed from me watching that music video to finding this movie, going from like the Thriller music video to me continuously loving the special effects of the werewolf, and then asking like my mum to rent out the video shop, and then watching this movie and being like, I was only young, I was under 10, I want to say I was under 10, but I was just like, wow, to the werewolf transformation thing and that, which I still say today is the single greatest werewolf transformation in the history of cinema ever. No one has beat it from that moment on. It is the most painful looking thing you'll ever see, and truly, if my body was going to change from me to something else, that's exactly the pain I believe you'd be in. They nailed that, and the actor that, oh God knows your name's forgotten, Mr. Kessler, he just showed how much pain you're in, and I really can't wait to listen to the introduction and talk about that. And then I just want to know how he came up with that werewolf sound. So when we get to do the Q&A bit, I want to know where that sound comes from and how they made it so it makes your blood run cold. So that's the next time. But anyway, so again, Sliver Screams at the Ashford Cinema. I've done another blinding event for only a £5, and that's the one thing I really want to hammer home. It was only £5. It cost me £5 to go that night. I think it'll pay like, I think like £5 for the drink, and I was happy. For about 7:30, I think I left there at 10:30. 7, 8:30, 9:30. Nearly 4 hours basically of me being happy, getting away from the family for, I shouldn't say that really, but getting away from the family for a bit and just enjoying myself and being immersed in something that I love to watch and know about for 4 hours for a £5. So that's just insane. Well, I suppose I'd say a tenner altogether if you cast a drink as well, but that is mentally good, cheap value for me. That is worth every penny I paid. So anyone local to Ashford, I do recommend, especially if you're a big fan of American Wolf in London, going to the next one. It's the 1st of January. I've already bought a ticket, so I don't mind if you want to go sell out the place now. It's the sorry, it's the 11th of January, Saturday 11th of January. I suggest you go and get the tickets. I have a funny feeling if you base it on the first one that they did, which was Sleepy Hollow, and now Krampus, of how many people in that cinema, I guarantee they're going to sell out this one. I have a feeling that they'll either very close to sell out or they'll sell out this film, because the film is more popular. American Wolf in London is like a legend film. 2, it's on a Saturday night this time, which probably helps as well. 3, the ticket price and the fact that they've actually got someone from the original movie talking about it this time as well. That is going to blow. That's going to knock it off. Like, anyone that's into sound, anyone that's into movies is going to be on this film. So, well done, Ashford Cinema. Well done, Silver Screams. You've done it again. Please keep doing these things, because, like, I want somewhere to go once a month. Right. So, thank you very much for watching. Definitely check out all their stuff. They've got websites, and I'll try and put links in. I am very bad at doing that, but I'll try and put some links in for you. Right. Thanks, guys. Cheers. See ya. Bye.